Hi guys, this is a really hard video to do. Comical in some sense, but tragic in others. Uh, I recently went on a ATV wild camp, and I chose to use the ATV because one, personal preference, I have it, and two, I need I'm required due to medical issues to carry certain medical devices. Uh, the trip I should have known better because the trip just went started off bad, very challenging, right in the driveway. Now, if you watch if you've watched any of the other videos, the location that I have permission to use is less than desirable terrain. It's very hard. Uh, it's about a 35 or 40% incline. Uh, Very slippery. It is doable, but it's a challenge. Uh, and one of the medical devices I have requires electricity. Now I do have a 12 volt adapter. That's why I took the ATV. I used the battery from the ATV to run my equipment. I get down there. First thing I noticed was I knew that I didn't have access at this point to a fresh water source. So I took all the water that I thought I was going to need for a 3-day trip. And I get there, only a half a gallon of water survived. Somewhere in the 2 mile journey, it wasn't far. The lid came off the water container, and I lost all but a half a gallon of water for 3 days. I get down there. Like I said, I used the battery on the four-wheeler to run my equipment. The battery went dead in the middle of the night on the second day, which was bad enough. So I had to discontinue use of the machine. Um, I'm laying there, evidently, as I was trying to get back to sleep. At 2:30 in the morning, it started raining, and I started thrashing around in bed. And lo and behold, the wind changed directions, and I woke up at 4:30, half soaking wet, cold. I wasn't smart enough the night before to put back uh, a firewood and kindling and everything, so everything was drenched. I'm cold. I've got a 2 foot square of blanket that's not soaking wet, that's not cold. When I went to bed, it was 77 degrees. At 4:30 in the morning, it had dropped. It was 43 degrees. I was cold and wet, and it's raining. Um, I've really not. I never saw the purpose of these channels that go out and reenact specific scenarios that are unrealistic. But I now see that they're not doing it because that's how they want to that's how they enjoy the outdoors. They do it to provide information to the viewer to put in their mental toolbox so that if they do find themselves in an adverse condition, to adapt and overcome. And for that, I have a whole new understanding and appreciation for the guys that they do go out and they do suffer just to put the content out there for other people. So thank you. And those of you who are watching this will know who I'm talking to. A lot of times I've been known to be a keyboard cowboy and be very critical of survival channels. And I've unsubscribed from several of them because I don't find it entertaining. And the thought of going out into the woods and not carrying equipment because you can dig a hole with your hands. I'd rather, pack my little e-tool or a short-handled shovel. It's worth the £1.50 to me to carry it. Unfortunately, you can't carry everything for every scenario. You're just not humanly possible. And with this trip, thanks to different channels out there, and I thought this was common knowledge in the bushcraft community, about a coyote well or a gypsy well. I had never heard of them, but I've never heard of a lot of things. But because I got to see a person dig a coyote well and use it, I knew what to do when I didn't have water. And I was able to source a clean water source versus the raging creek that I was next to that was basically a fast-moving mud puddle. I've criticized people for carrying water filters. I've never seen the value in spending the money on a water filter. But when you're in a wet condition and fire is, say, difficult, boiling water to drink is a pain in the ass. So yeah, a life straw or a water filter, very high on my respectful list right now. The possum mentality, yeah, I thought it was a good idea, but now I see the absolute need for collecting things as you find them, because your next location may not have that resource, and thinking about your next fire while you're enjoying your current fire is now an absolute must in my book. Because yeah, I went to bed, it was sunny, clear skies, and like I said, 77 degrees. Absolute gorgeous weather. In a matter of 8 hours, it went to total hell. I'd have been hard pressed to get a fire going after wasting my resources the day before with a blowtorch. Uh, some of the things I took became unusable because of decisions I made prior. And, this video is really about me eating crow and giving a shout out to the guys that do go out and do suffer, so that when we go out and we find ourselves in situations, we can adapt and overcome, and we don't have to suffer. Trying that, I think I'm gonna cut this off right here. But the biggest tip that I have for anybody watching this video: don't pack anything in that you're not able to pack out. Yeah, that's the big point. Like I said earlier in the video, the battery went dead on the ATV. It has a pull start backup. It's been a very reliable machine. Lights off on the first pull every time. I wasn't worried about it. Well, now I have to figure out how to get a broken ATV up a 30% incline, as well as the excessive amount of gear, probably close to 200 pounds of gear that I took because I had that form of conveyance. It made it easier. Why not make myself comfortable? I took a big chainsaw. One, I'm working on a base camp, so I'm doing a lot of timber framing, a lot of timber harvesting. So the chainsaw was the best choice for me. And the type of base camp that I'm building is for woodworking. It's a fishing camp, hunting camp. Going to be a maple syrup camp in next winter. So those were my foundational things. Now all my sleeping bag, I had taken an extra comforter from the house because I don't have expensive gear, and I had done an overnighter and came out and it rained for 2 days straight. This is the first time. This is a homemade tent that I made myself. So I wasn't sure that when I got back down there that everything wasn't going to be soaking wet. And I didn't want to have to call the trip short, so I took an extra blanket. Well, now that's down there. It's soaking wet. The sleeping bag's down there. It's soaking wet. I already had to pack out a battery on my back, which was fun because it's not a small motorcycle battery. It's a full-size car battery. I'm not fit. I'm not, well, can't say I'm not in shape because round is still a shape, I believe, in the United States. Don't know about Canada. You never know with them. But round is still a shape here. And I'm quite round. So now I've got a very big dilemma. It's pouring down rain outside. That's why I'm doing this video at my house. It's 49 degrees today, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The high for today, they said, may get to 53. We've got very strong winds. I'm really not worried about the the gear being there because it is private property. So, it's not, I'm not on public land. Uh, but it is going to be a challenge to retrieve the gear to get set up for the next trip. And the things that I wanted to do in that time frame to work on the new shelter, and which is going to be a long-term shelter. Um, Now I have to spend that time making multiple trips just to retrieve the gear, to get it home, get it washed, get it dried, to pack it back in. Now, eventually, when the shelter is completely up, a lot of stuff will be able to remain there, and I'll just be packing in and out food and small stuff. Uh, but I wanted to do this video because I immediately sent out apologies to everybody I could think of that I heckled. Uh, and they wanted to know details about this trip from hell. And this was the best format for me to do that. But even if you have conveyance, mechanical things break. There's repairs that you're not going to be able to do on the fly in the woods. I don't recommend packing in anything that you cannot pack out. And if you're going to use an ATV, snow machine, form of conveyance, if you're going to go anywhere, go in a group. As I mentioned before, I dug the gypsy well. Well, but it turned out to be quite a hike from the camp, so I decided to take the ATV, and I went up the hill to the well. Everything went good. Was coming down the exact same path that I rode in on, and in the blink of an eye, I had my water jug in one hand and was operating the machine with the other hand. So it wasn't hot rodding, wasn't jerking off. And the front tire dropped into a groundhog hole that I didn't see on the way up, and I tipped the four-wheeler over. It turned out it had a very pleasant ending because I didn't get hurt. The machine didn't get hurt, but it could have been ended very badly. I didn't think anything of it because I've been riding ATVs, motorcycles, since I was 10 years old. Been a while. So I am an experienced rider. That was a rude awakening. So get out. The guys and when you're watching videos and guys seem to be doing stuff that doesn't make sense, they're acting out scenarios that don't make any sense to you at all. Don't heckle them. Try to look at it from a perspective of what even if you don't think you need to know it, you may find yourself unwillingly in a situation where you need to know it, and you'll be glad that you do need to know it, and you'll be glad for the guys that get out there that do silly stuff or seemingly silly stuff, and to put the information out there that may save your life, may save somebody else's life. Support their channels. If you like this video, which everybody likes, loves, bedroom videos on YouTube, with bushcraft, and it does. So if you like this video, look at my other videos. If you like some of those, love to hear your comments to improve my videos, improve my content, and like, subscribe. I do try to get out and do videos, but and that's another thing. That's an entirely different scenario by itself. You're in the woods. You want to do something, build something, whether it's a tripod, a spoon, a fork. It takes 3 times as much time to set your phone up and try to talk your way through something that you've probably done 100 times before, that you could do in 25 seconds. Now it takes you 5 minutes. It packing camera gear, whether it's your cell phone, tripod, and that's all I have is a cell phone and a tripod. So, but that's an extra weight, that's extra bulk that I have to carry in the woods. And believe it, I already have enough extra weight I'm carrying. So I salute everybody that gets out there and even puts out poor videos, because to put your life on tape and share it with the whole world is a hurdle in itself. And some of us just aren't photogenic, but we try to be. So I'm going to call this video completely here, and get out, have fun, keep it legal, and be safe.